obviously it's it's a tough week, tough day for our players and our program not preparing to play this weekend. At South Carolina we've had a lot of success in the postseason, and anytime that we find ourselves in position not to be participating, it's a very difficult time. It's a difficult time for myself, our coaches, our players, and everyone associated with our baseball program. And that being said, we've met with the team. We're making progress and making plans to make sure that this doesn't happen again in 2018, and we're working hard from a recruiting standpoint to keep our class intact. We got an incredible recruiting class coming in next year, and some of those guys are going to have the opportunity to play pro baseball, and we're doing our part right now to make sure they know and realize how special their experience will be here, and so that we'll be able to put one of the best teams in college baseball on the field next year, and that's what 100% of our focus and our attention is on right now. When you don't have, when your season is over, you got to try to fight and go to work and make sure that you have a great team coming in this fall, and a great team that we can put on the field in 2018, and that's 100% of our focus and attention right now. And we'll be on the road and in conversations tirelessly with our current players and our recruits to make sure that happens.
Chad, have you spoken with Ray since yesterday's announcement?
We've communicated, and as is with any season, we'll personally talk and get together when the time is right. And after every season, I'll sit down with Coach Tanner, and we'll talk about a number of different things. And I would assume we're going to do that here really soon.
Yeah, so he assured you that he wants you back next year, that you'll be back next
year. We haven't had that conversation. We'll have that conversation, and I'm sure in a short period of time, and when we meet and talk about the year.
Coach, as you're kind of looking back over the year, you had a lot of injuries, but is anyone that stepped up this year, do you think is going to make a big impact coming into next year?
Well, I think you all got to see what Carlos Cortez can do in the future that he's going to have here. He kind of made a name for himself down the stretch here, and he's going to be a great player. We got a number of other guys as well. We look forward to getting Chris Cullen back from injury, and Jonah Bride returns, and LT Tolbert's going to have the opportunity to return and build on his pretty successful season, as is Jacob Olson. TJ Hopkins hopefully will be a healthy, 100% ready to go next year, and have the makings of a great team in 2018. Some of the recruits that we have coming in are top 100 kids in the country, and are chomping at the bit to get in the mix and help the Gamecocks get back in the top 10 and have an opportunity to go to the College World Series. And so we're excited about the roster that's going to be intact next year, and the players that are coming in and our players that are returning. And those are just a few, but there's certainly some other guys that didn't play much this year that I think have the ability to contribute to the program next year as well, and both from a pitching standpoint and a position player standpoint.
Chad, in your mind, what do you think did not succeed this year that we're talking about?
Well, as a coach, you teach your players when things don't go your way not to make excuses, and not to get on the stuff, but just try to make it happen no matter what happens, and cross and jump over every hurdle that comes your way. But as you reflect, we lost our starting catcher, we lost our Friday night guy, we lost an All-American closer. We didn't have a healthy center fielder going, and we lost a shortstop. And in baseball, that's very, very difficult to overcome, and especially with the schedule that we played and how difficult our league is, and put ourselves in position to get the postseason, even though those hurdles were obviously very high. We just didn't quite do enough at the end. And but as I reflect back, I wish like crazy there was a couple games we had Tyler Johnson, and I wish like crazy there's a couple Friday nights we had Clark Schmidt. And I wish like crazy we had Chris Cullen behind the plate, but we didn't. And is that an excuse? No. It's just a fact that some of our best players weren't able to play this year, and it was difficult for us to overcome.
What was it like yesterday watching the selection show? Did you know in advance that you weren't in, or were you having to watch bracket by bracket?
Well, obviously we study it very hard, and with what happened on Sunday in regards to some of the championship games, it became clear that it was going to be very difficult and very close. And some of those games maybe didn't go in our favor. there were some at-large bids maybe stolen on Championship Sunday across the country, and but so as I laid down Sunday night, I had a feeling, and I didn't have to be really informed, to be quite honest with you, and I was told right before the show, and it was tough, but it was a lot harder. It was very difficult for our players as well, because they had hopes and ambitions that the way that they performed in Hoover was going to get them maybe over the hump, but it was just a little bit short.
You're going about your business, and like you said, you're going to meet with Ray here shortly, but your confidence level moving forward, that you're still the guy.
Yeah, I love the University of South Carolina. There's no doubt in my mind. I love this baseball program. I've experienced great things here. I've been in the dugout and got to experience 2 national championships, and another trip to the College World Series and a championship series, and an SEC championship, an SEC East championship last year. I feel great about who Chad Holbrook is. I feel great about myself. I have the utmost confidence in myself, and if some things not going our way, absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't made mistakes. We're all human beings. Sometimes mistakes are made, but I feel great about my ability to coach and lead this baseball program. I love this university. I love this community. So many people have been so supportive of me, our program, and our family, and I feel great about moving forward.
Can you say you feel 100% that you'll be back as a coach?
That's not for me to say. Coach Tanner and I will have conversations. There's not a person in the world that I think more of, and there's not a person in the world that means more to me, and we'll have an opportunity to talk, when he gets back in town, and we'll see how that goes. But it's that goes on with we'd have that meeting whether we had a 46 win season like we did a year ago, and we'll talk about a number of things, I'm sure, at that point.
And do you think it's at all justified that your job security is even being talked about? I mean, you look at your overall record and the fact that you missed 2 tournaments in your career so far, and people are questioning whether you should be the guy.
Well, I don't need to stand up on a soapbox and go to bat for Chad Holbrook. I believe in myself. Yeah, we have won 40 games. We won the SEC East last year. We've hosted a couple super regionals, and I understand we need to get to College World Series. And I'm not standing up here an unsuccessful coach. I've been part of some great things, but at the same point, I understand the expectations at South Carolina. I'm honored to have worn that jersey, and honored to have the opportunity to continue to wear it. I'm totally comfortable with who I am as a coach and as a leader of this baseball program. And I wish some things would have gone differently for us this year. And I wish we'd have had, all our team, able to compete on a day-to-day basis. But as far as my coaching record and what I've been able to accomplish, I feel good about who I am and what I've done for this university, and I feel good about what's going to be what's going forward here for our baseball program and Chad Holbrook.
Would you make any changes, though, if you're able to come back coach again? What would you change anything differently from style of coaching, anything in the dugout? I mean, just
when you have a tough year, you evaluate every single aspect of the program. You evaluate yourself. You evaluate, how you do anything. But this program has a great tradition in regards to the way we run practice, the way we lift, to the way our kids perform in the classroom, to the way our kids perform in the community. This program was set up, quite honestly, long before I got here, and nothing has changed in regards that we go about the way that we coach the game, the way that we condition, the way that we teach the game. I mean, and we believe in the program here at the University of South Carolina, and are things tweaked from time to time? Absolutely. I think you have to continue to learn and grow when you have some moments like this. Maybe do we train a little bit differently to prevent, focus on some injury prevention stuff. As I sit here and right now, and that being maybe one of the major hurdles we were unable to overcome, that's one of my focuses as we go into next year. Is there anything that we can do from an injury prevention status to ensure that doesn't happen again to a number of our players. But there's other things too that will be evaluated. I'll evaluate myself, we'll evaluate our players, evaluate our coaches, we'll evaluate every single person. That's just part of it. And to be honest with you, it's part of it whether you have a great year or a tough year like we just had.
Chad, is there an area on the field that you are going to concentrate on in the offseason because you think it needs to improve?
Well, honestly, when you look at our numbers, and our baseball play wasn't very bad. We fielded at a high percentage. Our ERA was pretty darn good. We broke the BB Core record for home runs in a season here. And we got some good, young, exciting players. When you play in a league that has great parity and it's very close from top to bottom, it comes down to a pitch here or a pitch there or a big 2-out hit here or a big 2-out hit there. And to be honest with you, we didn't make some pitches with some games on the line. We didn't get some hits with some games on the line. And I learned the grain from some great coaches, and Coach Tanner being one of the ones that I hold at the highest. And I coach the game, obviously, with what I've learned and who I've learned from, and try to put our players in position to win. And we did that on a number of occasions. We just couldn't make a couple pitches with our games, with some very, very important games on the line. And, you look across the country and you look at overall schedules, and you look at overall records, you're talking about 2 or 3 games, maybe one game, one pitch. And, we're sitting here talking about our game on Friday. And but it didn't happen. And so you have to take a long, hard look at why it didn't happen. Certainly man enough to do that.
From what you know with Ray, with his baseball background, you think he looks at this situation knowing what a baseball coach goes through, number one, and then also knowing him, do you think he can close off the noise from the outside, maybe even off the board of trustees, and whatever decision he has to make his decision based on what he knows?
I can't speak for Coach Tanner. I know that he holds me in high regard, and I hold him in high regard. We will have conversations. If he wants me to, I'll do whatever he asks me to do, and I'll love that guy to the day I die. And it's up for Coach Tanner. Coach Tanner's the athletic director here, and with every program he's on campus, he's going to evaluate and if and he's going to make decisions based on what he thinks is best for South Carolina and his baseball program going forward. Totally respect that. That's what he's paid to do. But Coach Tanner and I have a deep relationship, and we're going to have a deep relationship whether I'm the coach at South Carolina or not. And but he certainly understands the league that we coach in, the league that we play in, and he understands what happened to our group this year. And that being said, we'll discuss all those things when we meet.
Coach, the committee said that one of the main factors for Carolina not getting into the postseason was 2-8 in SEC series. Do you agree with that? How hard is it to win those SEC series on a consistent basis?
Well, that was you can poke holes in a lot of resumes of teams that were on the bubble. You can also say we won a great deal of wins against the top 50 or the top 100, but that was disappointing. Yeah, obviously we had a stretch there which couldn't close out a series, and we were an out away or a pitch away or a play away, and from winning a series at LSU or at Auburn, and here against Vanderbilt, and a number of other games where it was a pitch, and you got to make it, or you got to make the play, or you got to put a big swing of the bat on it with 2 outs or 2 strikes on you, and we didn't. We were 2 pitches away from being 4-4, or we were probably 3 outs away from being 6-4 in the league in series. It just didn't happen, and it didn't happen, and it was very, very. The line was very fine. It certainly wasn't from a talent standpoint. It certainly wasn't, necessarily from an ability to put yourself in position to win. We were in position to win all our series, including all of them on the road. We were in position to win them late in the game, maybe with an out to go or a pitch to go, and we had trouble getting over that hurdle. Some of it was because we didn't have Tyler to go to, maybe, and some of it was some other factors, but. I understand and respect the committee's decision. I understand we didn't do enough when you look at the whole resume. I was hoping that we would be able to sneak in with our performance in Hoover, but it just didn't work out.
What
that you guys are probably going to lose on pitching. How do you try to replace all of that?
We're totally excited about the pitchers that we have returning and the pitchers we have coming in. I mean, we have some Gatorade Players of the Year coming in. We have some junior college All-American types coming in. We have a number of arms coming in. I think I got that same question in 2015 after we lost some guys and people didn't know who Clark Schmidt was and who Braden Webb was and who Adam Hill was. And we got some of those guys waiting in the wings to show up here and show that they're pretty darn good. And to be honest with you, I'm extremely excited about our pitching staff next year. Even though we lost a number, I'm extremely excited about them. And I'm extremely excited about the team that's going to be on the field here from an athletic standpoint, from an experience standpoint, and from the recruiting class that's going to come in here. It's going to be a fun team to watch play. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And that's both in the positions and on the mound.
Chad, offensively, I know y'all hit some home runs, but you're still bottom third in the league in a lot of offensive categories. With Busher not being around, do you stick with Stuart Lake? Where do you go from a hitting philosophy standpoint and a hiring standpoint?
Well, I'm gonna evaluate every single aspect of the program, and obviously myself and Coach Tanner are going to evaluate every single aspect of the program, and I'll make the decisions I need to make at the appropriate time, and Coach Tanner will do the same in regards to the decisions that he needs to make. So everything's going to be evaluated, and and that starts with myself. I'm the head coach, and we'll certainly evaluate every other aspect of our program as well.
Is there anything in mind right now that you would like to change just from an approach standpoint, or just anything from an offensive standpoint?
I have a lot of things in mind that I want to address and will address at the appropriate time, and but I'm going to sit down with Coach Tanner, first and foremost, and bump some ideas off of him and see if he thinks they're good, or see if he thinks that those would be things that you need to imply. But there's a lot of things I want to address, and I will do that at the appropriate time.
Anything else, guys?
Do you feel that at any point in the season that you lost some of the faith from the fan base? I'm just curious, do you pay attention to anything like on talk radio or Twitter or anything?
Hey, I love the fan base at South Carolina. They want to win, and they expect to win, and that's one of the great things about this program. And I understand their disappointment, and no one's more disappointed than I was. And I've also had great support, and from a lot of fantastic people here and fantastic fans that followed us to Hoover, was with us in the hotel. There's a lot of great people that love this baseball program. There's a lot of people that are great people too that are disappointed that we're not playing this week. I understand that, I respect that, and that's how it should be at South Carolina. And but we look forward to making a lot of people happy here in the future, and I'm sure the team that's going to be on the field in 2018 will do that. I have no doubt in my mind. But that's part of it. The fans I understand, totally understand. But no one's more disappointed in not playing this week than myself and our coaches and our players. And we invest daily in trying to get to this point, and it's hurts like crazy to fall short.
You speak to some of the guys that are leaving and what they've meant to this program.
Well, I mean, Clark Schmidt, we hope to be a first rounder, and I can't tell you how much he and his family mean to me. Will Crow, he put his career on the line because of his love for the University of South Carolina and his baseball program to come back. There's so many other guys, Josh Reagan. I mean, I love the kid to death, and he was on the mound when some of the pitches didn't go his way and our way. But man, I'll stand beside that kid every single day for the rest of my life. And there are other kids as well. I mean, that brought a lot, that maybe didn't play as much, but brought a lot to practice, or brought a lot of personality to our locker room, and they're every bit as important as the guys I just talked about. But I know how much Clark worked. I know how much Will Crow worked. I know what Reed Scott did to try to put himself in position to compete at this level. And I'll be forever indebted to those guys. Those guys will be Gamecocks forever. And Chad Holbrook will stand side by side for them, until the day that he dies. Those are truly great kids that wanted what's best for this baseball program, and very, very special to me, for sure.
Chad, who else do you expect to lose in the draft other than the three pitchers?
You just never know how it goes. I mean, there's a lot of draft-eligible guys. Destino obviously is draft-eligible, and Madison Stokes, LT Tolbert's draft-eligible, and we want what's best for our players. We want them to have the opportunity. If we don't recruit players that have an opportunity to go into professional baseball, we're recruiting the wrong players. We're going to stand beside them and wish them well and try to help them with the goals and the dreams that they have. Some of those may want to come back to school. Some of those may want to sign, and we're going to support them either way. And those kids are worked awfully hard to put themselves in this position. And there might be a few that I miss, but, Jonah Bride's draft eligible. Who knows? There's a number of kids that have the chance on our roster to be drafted, and we'll talk with them, when the draft comes and see where they are and see what their opportunities are, and we'll support them either way. And there might be some that we want to recruit to come back, but there might be some that, the opportunity may be the right one for them. And we'll certainly be by their side each and every decision that goes into it with each player.
Have any of them said, I want to come back to school regardless of what happens?
Yeah, we've had a number of guys like that because they love being here and love playing here.
Can you identify them?
I'd rather not until the draft because you don't know what opportunities are going to be in front of them, and I certainly don't want to limit their opportunities. But there'll be a time and a place for those that return, and we'll put them in front of you guys and talk if they turn down some opportunities. I would expect some to return, and I would expect some to obviously sign contracts. That's how it is every year, and we certainly have a number of kids that have those opportunities.
Chad, what do you think it says about your team that they did, going through the adversity that they went through, fought till the end and won 3 games in the tournament? What do you think that says about their fight?
Well, one of the things that I'll walk away from this year most proud of is there was obviously some negativity, and rightfully so, that we lost some series, and our kids showed up here each and every day to play, to get better, with a great attitude, to continue to improve, and the way they represented this jersey and this program and this university in Hoover when a lot of things were going against them was something that I'll be proud of for a long period of time. Not necessarily that, we didn't become SEC champions, but you guys know as well as I do that they could have not put every ounce of energy and enthusiasm and want to into that tournament based on what had happened to them before. But their spirit wasn't broke. They wanted to continue to fight to the last pitch. They did that. They put themselves in position to get in the conversation to be in the NCAA tournament, with their 3 wins down in Hoover. And with all that was stacked against them, I'll be proud of them for a long period of time for what they did that week. That being said, we're disappointed with where we're at. I'm the first to stand up and say that. And we'll do everything in our power and my power, and I'm sure Coach Tanner as well, to make sure we're not in this position at this point next year. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.